Hello. Today we will look into the lab program 4 of Design Analysis of Algorithms Laboratory. The aim of the program is to sort a given set of n integer elements using quicksort method and compute its time complexity. Run the program for varied values of n greater than 5000. Record the time taken to sort. Plot a graph of the time taken versus n on the graph sheet. The elements can be read from the file or can also be generated using the random number generator. So with the random number generator, we need to generate the numbers and then the sort the elements. So demonstrate this using Java program, using how divide and conquer method works along with the time complexities analysis. So before we go to the design of the program, let us have a brief outlook as to how design and how design of the quicksort has been done. So quicksort is another important sorting algorithm that is based on divide and conquer approach, wherein the problem is divided into two halves or problem is divided into two sub-problems, and the sub-problems are sorted and then sub-problems will be combined in order to get solution to the original problem. Unlike merge sort, which divides its input elements according to the position in the array, that is, according to the position means to say, according to the mid position in the array, the quicksort will be dividing the elements according to their value, not based on the position, rather it is based on their value. So, the quicksort algorithm will be indulged doing something called as partition. What is a partition? A partition is nothing but an arrangement of the array's elements so that all the elements to the left of some element E of S are less than or equal to E of S, and all the elements to the right of E of S are greater than or equal to it. This is a pictorial representation. So if I consider particular element E of S, all the elements towards the left of it, that is the index ranging from 0 to S minus 1 should be less than or equal to E of S, and all the elements towards the right should be greater than or equal to E of S. This element, which we call it as an E of S, some element E of S, has got a name called as a pivot element. There are a number of ways to pick up the pivot element in an array. We can select the first element as a pivot, or the last element as the pivot, or the mid element as a pivot. So basically here we use the first element in the array as a pivot. So the first element in the array here is now 40. The main intention of the quicksort algorithm here is to place the pivot element into the array such that that is the final position of 40 or the pivot element in the sorted array. So let us see how it works. So given a pivot element, we'll have to partition the elements of the array such that the resulting array consists of one subarray that contains elements greater than or equal to pivot, another subarray that contains elements less than or equal to pivot. The subarrays are stored in the original data array only. So we don't need any temporary array to store the subarrays, they will be in the original data itself. So as stated earlier, 40 is the pivot element which is there. The main intention of my quicksort algorithm is to place 40 into the array, original array, such that it occupies the final position of the array, which is same as that of the final position of 40 in the sorted array. So as we can see in the example, the final position of the 40 in the sorted array would be 4. The reason because it should be placed in the position 4 because, so we have how many elements lesser than 40, that is 10, 7, 30 and 20. So 10, 7, 30 and 20. The final position of the array would be now where 4. Such that position 40 in the fourth position such that all the elements towards the left should be less than or equal to, and all the elements towards the right of 40 should be greater than or equal to. So before going to the partition algorithm, let us now initialize two things. What is that? The index I points to the beginning of the array, that is index 0, and I points to the last, after the last element of the array. So the the last element, after the last element of the array, we just store a sentinel value, and that is now j. The partition algorithm works in two ways. The first way is two steps. First step is to do left to right scan, and the second step is to do right to left scan. What is that left to right and that right to left? So left to right is a scan which has been performed till I encounter an element greater than the pivot element. And right to left scan will be performed till I encounter an element less than the pivot element. That means to say, I am just searching for the elements which are lesser than or equal to pivot in my left to right scan. When I encounter an element greater than pivot, I stop my scanning process. Similarwise, in right to left scan, I will be continuing my scan till I have elements greater than the pivot. But when I encounter an element less than or equal to the pivot element, I just stop and then perform something called as the swapping process. So let us see how it works. First, I'll have to do my left to right scan. So what is the instruction that I'll have to follow? Repeat I++. That means proceed with left to right scan until I encounter an element in the array A of I, such that it is greater than pivot. So in the example, we can see now pivot is 40. The I initially, which was pointing to 0, gets updated to 1. What is the element of 20 at A of 1 is, that is A of I, that is A of 1 is 20, which is less than the pivot element. So I continue with my scan. So I update I now, which was 1, becomes 2. At A of 2, I have 10, which is still less than 40. Continue with the scan. A of 3, I becomes I, which was 2, now becomes 3. So what is that? The element at A of 3? 80. But 80 is no more less than 40, but it is greater than 40. So I need to stop at this point my left to right scan. The next step here is to now continue with my right to, or to start off with my right to left scan. Right to left scan, repeat the variable, the decrementation. So I should not do increment because I have to move from right to left. So it is j minus 1 until I encounter element A of j less than or equal to pivot. So j, which was pointing earlier to 9, it will now point to 8. So what is the element at 100? 100 is greater than 40. Yes, I can proceed with the scan. So j becomes 7. What is the element at A of 7 is now 30, which is less than the pivot element. So I need to stop my right to left scan. So when I have done with my left to right and the right to left scan, I need to swap the elements which are in those two scanning, which are basically out of order, because I am searching for the element towards my left less than or equal to pivot, and towards the right to be greater than or equal to pivot. But the element at A of I, you can find it is greater, and this is at the lesser. So I need to swap these two elements. So in order to perform swapping, check whether I is less than j. Yes, I is less than j. If I is less than j, swap A of I and A of j. So you can see now, earlier it was 80 and 30, that gets swapped to 30 and 40. The elements are now being swapped. Similarly, I should now continue the process of left to right scan and right to left scan until I is less than or equal to j. If I is less than or equal to j, go to step 1. So it again continues. So 60 is now what? Greater than 40. Stop there. So j, which was pointing to 80, comes to 7. 7 is less than 40. Stop the scan. And since I is less than j, swap 7 and 60. So again, still I is less than or equal to j. Continue my left to right and right to left scan. So move up to 50. So 50 is now again greater than 40. So 50 is now greater than 40. So I continue with my right to left scan. So j points to 4, that is the index 4, which contains element 7. 7 is no more greater than 40, rather it is less than 40. So, but I can see that nowhere I is less than j, because I is pointing to 5, j is pointing to 4. So I mean that means to say that I cannot swap a of I and a of j, nor I can continue the swapping process since I is greater than j. So when I have encountered situation where I is greater than j, that means to say that the final position for the pivot element is found, and that is pointed by the variable j. The final position of the pivot element is now pointed by the variable j. You can see earlier, as I said in the previous session, that we have final position of the pivot element of the 40 is at the index 4. So we can see that G now contains the value 4. So if at all now the I value becomes greater than J, final step, we will have to swap A of low with A of I. J. The reason because J now contains J holds the value that is the final position of the pivot element. So therefore the pivot element which is at A of 0, that is A of low, should be swapped with A of J. So we can see now the 40 which was here at A of 0 is swapped with A of 4 with the value of 7. And finally the partition algorithm now returns the value 4. Why? Because 4 is the final position of the element 40. So we can now see towards the element left side of the element they are all lesser than, and towards the right side of the element 40 they are all greater than. And now the partition result, we can see the 4 is the final position of my pivot element, that is 40, and it's less than or equal to, and this is greater than or equal to the pivot. The first half of the array now which has to be again sorted is ranging from 0 to 3, that is the final position of the pivot, that is the return value, that is 4 minus 1. So as we saw, it returns 4 minus 1. The first half of the array ranges from 0 to 3, and the second half of the array ranges from 4 plus 1, that is 5 to 8. So these two arrays again will be now sorted recursively. Let us now see the program for the same, how it has been done. So we have again the class quicksort, declared a variable max of size 3000. So array is been created of size max. So we have start and end variables, and we read now enter the elements to be sorted, number of elements to be sorted, that is n value, and then we have number of elements to be sorted is read from the user and then stored in the variable n. We need to generate the numbers randomly by creating the object of random class and calling the method int next int of the random class via the random object, and 100, passing 100 as an argument. That means to say I need to generate the numbers randomly between the range 0 to 99 and stored in the array element. The array elements which are now been generated are now been displayed using the for loop I is equal to 0, I less than, and I plus plus, and printing the elements A of I. And very important thing that you have to notice is I have given a sentinel value in the example, that is at the last, after the last element we have stored infinity. We cannot store infinity here, but we will store A of n, that is because 0 to n minus 1 is the indices of my array. The last, after the last element, the index will be n, so A of n is equal to 999. So call the function quicksort A with the index 0, low as the 0, initial value of low as 0, and the final index value is n minus 1, and giving the time recording by calling the function nanotime, store get the time that has been elapsed, calling before the quicksort function, stored in start, and what is the time that has been happened or taken up after the completion of the quicksort in the end. The sorted elements will now be displayed using again the for loop there. System.out.println, time taken to sort is end minus start 5. So we'll now let us now look into the function qsort, which now takes 3 arguments, array A, low and high. The qsort function is declared as static because I am not calling the function by creating an object of the class. So it's both is to be declared as static. Then the return type is void. So declared another variable called as s, which holds the final position of the pivot element, which is returned by the partition function. So we can divide the array elements into halves or the subproblems till there is more than one element in the array. To check whether the array contains more than one element, we have the condition if low less than or less than high. So if there is only one element in the array, we cannot partition. So if low is less than or less than high, that means contains more than one element, so it can be divided into halves. So here we now call, if low is less than high, we now call the partition method by passing a, low and high, wherein what does the partition method do for us is selecting the pivot element and then placing the pivot element in the final position of that of the sorted array, and then returning the final position of the pivot element which is in lower to high, which is stored in S. So S is nothing but the final position of the pivot element in A, low to high. Then sort the first half of the array first half of the array A, which ranges from low to S minus 1, and second half of the array A, which ranges from S plus 1 to high, recursively by calling the same function qsort. So let us now look into the method partition, which is again a static, and then the return type is int. So as I said, partition is a method which now selects a pivot element. The pivot element is always the first element, that is low. In general it is low, and we have to do certain partitioning nothing but comparing the elements in such a way that we perform both left to right scan as well as right to left scan. So I is the index that does with left to right scan. The initial value of I is the first index value, that is low, and the initial value of j, which represents right to left scan, is equal to the high, the last index of the array A. So I'll have to perform this left to right scan until till I is less than or equal to j. Till I is less than or equal to j. So I'll have to keep performing the scanning process. So I'll have to use a while statement here. Then perform the process of left to right scan by incrementing the variable I till I encounter an element E of I greater than pivot. That is, till E of I is less than or equal to the pivot, keep incrementing I plus 1, means to say proceed with your left to right scan. So I'll have to use a while statement here, do not use a if statement. So while, whenever the left to right scan stops, continue with the process of right to left scan till I encounter an element E of j. J because j is the index for your right to left scan element E of j less than the pivot. So continue with right to left scan till E of j is greater than the pivot. Stop when E of j becomes less than the pivot, decrementing j minus minus. So it should be j minus minus, no j plus plus. When both of this left to right and the right to left scan stops, check whether I is less than j. If so, swap A with the contents of the array A at the index I as well as at the j. When the value of I becomes greater than j, we cannot proceed with the left to right as well as right to left scan. That means to say the final position of the pivot element is found, which is located at the index j. So I need to now swap the pivot element which is at the index low and the element at the index j. So I will now swap the elements. Whatever is in E of j, I will place it in E of low, and E of j, I will place the pivot element. So pivot element is nothing but E of low itself, which is initialized. Pivot is nothing but E of low. So E of j, whatever is in E of j will be under E of low. Under E of j, I will place the pivot element and then return the value of j. So I have again the swap function where I'll have to swap the array A at the index E of I to E of j using the temporary variable temp. Temp is equal to E of I and E of I equals to j and E of j equals to temp. The end of the swap function. This is the end of the quicksort class. So once we execute the same thing here, entering the number of elements, asking the user to enter the number of elements to be sorted. 5, there are elements to be sorted, goes like this: 96, 71, 67, 52 and 82. The sorted elements will be like this, and the time taken will be so and so nanoseconds. Similar wise, for 10 elements, there are elements which are been generated or so and so, and the sorted elements will be 7, 9, 16, 33, 35, 37, 38, 66, 96 as well as the 98. The time taken will be 16098 nanoseconds. We need to also tabulate the elements and also the time taken to sort. And I have taken the number of elements is 1000, 5000, 1000, 5000, 10,000, 15,000 and 20,000, and the respective time taken is now recorded. And we need to plot a graph taking x-axis as the number of elements and taking the y-axis as the time taken, that is t of n in terms of nanoseconds. So the summary of this program is now illustrating how the quicksort works using divide and conquer technique, and also the time taken for different values of n. Thank you.